Many people could just do whatever the fuck they want in Yu-Gi-Oh! You need to give us Maxi at 3, and if you don't agree with me, then you're fucking crazy, Abe.
Of course, I don't fucking agree with you. I told you Maxi at 3 can't. It can't happen. Right? It just can't.
Look, max stay at three, or I quit.
I agree. I quit too.
Okay, hold on. Stop. I've just about had it. Let's stop talking about meta real quick. I thought we were the Rogue channel. Let's talk about more interesting stuff. Come on.
Like,
Let's talk
Like
card
the
art.
mating ritual of the humpback whale.
What? No. Let's talk
Oh.
card art. Let's talk anime. Let's talk cool things. Trivia stuff.
Alright,
Come
well.
on. All right, so a little bit of an interesting discussion this time around. We're kind of putting aside the meta talk real quick and sort of diving into the more interesting discussion because that's how we are. We are the Rogue channel, the YugiBOOM Podcast, coming to you guys with
filthy
some
casuals.
filthy casuals, coming to you guys with some interesting tidbits about cards, art, anime, things that other people don't care about, but we like to discuss, because
We like to discuss a lot of things nobody cares about.
like dumb things, but that just interests us, but that's just our natural flavor here at YugiBOOM at the Rogue Network and just amongst our family. But nonetheless, we are YugiBOOM. I am Toby, I guess the pilot of this podcast. Here to join me is Joe.
Ah.
Uh,
Yep, that's me.
we
Resident Evil Swarm player.
we also have Abraham,
Yo,
and of course Trez,
Yo, 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 yo.
our beloved family here in the YugiBOOM podcast. Yeah, just pretty much we like to talk about just all the interesting nerdy stuff. So yeah, just a little bit of a preface on what we have to talk about. We just wanted to discuss favorite archetypes, card art that we liked over the years. Just interesting arts or tie-ins and like spells or traps. I always like those kind of things that just sort of encapsulates or just expands on lore on like certain archetypes or things like that. And we'll kind of tie that into our favorite things in the anime, whether it's favorite moments or favorite 4Kids edits, because you know me, I'm a sucker for 4Kids stuff, like all the hilarious stuff. I don't know about you guys.
you, and they're pointing their fingers, and it should be good.
Yeah,
Or freaking Bandit Keith pointing it at Pegasus's head. Listen here, buddy.
exactly. And we're going to tie things down with a little bit of a game, something that we kind of brainstormed our little minds together. We won't reveal what that is yet. We'll keep that a surprise for you guys.
Has
But
nothing to do with Marvel, okay?
has nothing to do with Marvel, kind of hint hint. But we'll
Well, that
you'll
was a
know.
big fat fail.
Yeah, but one thing that we wanted to discuss before everything else, there's some new sets coming out. We might as well talk about that. So, Trez kind of
Pew, pew, pew,
pew,
pew.
pew, pew, pew. Let's bring up the new sets, y'all. But yeah, Trez kind of clued us in, being our resident info dump here on YugiBOOM. Trez let us in on some info about some new sets coming out sometime in the near future, maybe within the next few months or so. Trez, what were those exactly?
Oh, we finally got the wrap up almost. We're waiting on one more card, which we hopefully get tomorrow, of the Animation Chronicle 2022,
Ooh.
which we don't know exactly when we're gonna get these cards. It'll probably be like Megaton imports or like a Ghost in the Past kind of situation.
Oh
But
yeah.
all those cards are like super fan servicey. Like all the artworks are like scenes from like a really pivotal moment in the anime, or like scenes from like the opening or the closings. It's
Ooh.
really cool. I think we're gonna get a Blackluster Soldier retrain tomorrow, so
Oh wow.
At the
think
time of
people,
recording of this video.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the time we're recording this video, we haven't got the last card yet. But they leaked like one of the cover arts of one of the packs, and it has the artwork on it. And they waited till like today to do it, so pretty sure we'll get that tomorrow.
Oh, that's clean.
And then news that I'm uber super excited about is we got the first reveals of Power of the Elements. So the next set that Japan's next set. So
Dang.
super
Is that for
excited about
Dimension
that.
Force?
Yes.
That's always a double-edged sword to me because then we find out cards we're gonna get, and then this good card is coming out, but hella days from now for us, you know?
That's true.
A lot of the times with this, like I remember the new Glad Beasts were shown hella days ago before, and yes, they're kind of old now, you know, but I'm just saying, like, that's one of my best examples of, like, I remember seeing those on, like, I think it was, like, YugiBOOM Paladin and some of those other guys who are really good at showing you the cards and getting their effects early. And I was just so teased because, like, damn, finally gonna get, like, a good monster, a good fusion, like, something
Lynx.
easy
That's
to
what Lynx
summon. And
do.
Lynx, and then Test Panther, you know, we, like, had his effect, and I was like, but who knows when we'll actually get that, you know? But
It took hella days.
I'm excited for Ghosts from the Past, too, because all 5 Ghost Rares are bangers, and I would not be salty to pull either one. Even being more of a Blue Eyes guy, I wouldn't even care if I pulled the Dark Magician Girl, like...
Oh, yeah.
those
You get the
ghosts,
waifu, bruh.
dude. Those ghosts are clean.
Everyone wants
However,
the waifu.
however, I think most people I bring this up to agree with me. I think the next ghost set should have a ghosting set of Exodia. That would be super clean.
Yeah, probably the other cool set that's going to come out is going to be the new Legendary Duelist. It's finally going to have some water support, water exceed support. I know Trez likes the water exceed stuff. So maybe that could do a little game breaker thing. Maybe
Who doesn't like a
change
free
the meta.
tote?
Yeah.
Maybe, right? Well, I don't know. We'll see what reprints come in it too, because we don't know what reprints are going to coming yet. But they're obviously going to introduce some new XEs and like other monsters and stuff like that. So we'll see what's in the set. They haven't really shown everything, especially for TCG, because you know that's just different in OCG and
Damn.
TCG. So
Imagine
we'll see what we get.
Imagine an Exceed throwback set that has ghosts, and they give us ghost rares of like classic Exceeds, like fucking Gaga Cowboy and shit like that, or like
That would
Tyrus
be
and
dope.
Adrius. Tyrus and
Cowboy?
Adrius, yeah, Bulkasaurus ghost rare, you know, some random shit like that.
Hey, I
Castel.
want my Exabeetle and Exastagon Ghost. Hell yeah.
That's too
They'll never
archetype.
reprint that.
Abyss Dweller
Get
Ghost
outta
would be
here.
clean. Abyss Dweller Ghost would be
It
nice.
should be like Dweller, like Exciton, Honor Arc, because I was
Cowboy.
like, you know,
Yeah.
The
And
numbers.
Cowboy.
The numbers.
Oh,
What
Cowboy's
about them?
cool.
And what's it called? If they do any of the newer Exceeds, a Baguska Ghost would be. But Abyss Dweller Ghost would be ironic because it's a ghost, but it shuts down the graveyard. That'd be awesome.
And then
yeah.
like one that's like kind of archetype specific, but it really defined an era, I believe. Dante.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Oh yeah.
Either Dante or Dolka and Lagia, because Dino
'Cause
Rabbit was
Dante-
shitting on
How many
stuff.
times do you remember when BA came out and fucking
Oh my
Dante dodged the ban list? Everybody was like, Dante, he didn't hit Dante.
BA
Never hit Dante.
I guess agreed. BA was kind of the definitive Ixies deck of the time. The
It was.
like
when
the
Ghost
Ixies
Alliance
deck.
came out, BA, Shadow.
Wasn't that our
and-
first TCG exclusive?
Yeah, Burning Abyss was a TCG exclusive.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Huh.
But I think Dante, just because it has like a place in history, I believe.
And also the
Just-
card art was cool. You know,
Yeah.
Just a
in
guy
general.
with the red vest.
Well, I think
thing.
he's talking about more about the Burning Abyss monsters,
Oh,
like
yeah.
Yeah,
actual
yeah.
demons. Like
Yeah.
it kind of sucks because they were rares, and so it was cheap, kind of cheap. Just Dante was expensive, but like when they reprinted them as gold, it was kind of like because people now say they like the old gold better than new gold. Bullshit. The old gold was pretty gross. I like the new gold now. But like, imagine if those cards were new gold, that'd be cool. But I think
Yeah. Well,
when
a
they
couple
got
of them
reprinted as a
got.
gold, it was like, it looked gross. I wish like it were supers or something. Like only Graph and something else got Astro
OTS.
Pack at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at the time it was Astro Pack, but yeah, basically an OTS super, and those are the only two that got like supers, and everything else stayed the same.
Yeah.
I like the old gold.
The
Lies.
golds.
I'm just kidding.
I personally
Well-
like the golds too. Yeah.
I like the new
I
ones.
really like the number monsters, as you guys know, and that first pack had all like hella number. Like the gimmick puppets came in that set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I like that.
Yeah, wasn't there like a gold ulti Gaga mold too, or am I tripping? Or was that a
No,
different
that's
set?
only ulti. That was like in a Zexal tin. Like you got
Yeah.
like these certain cards. Like they weren't different. You get the same cards every
Okay.
tin. So that's why a lot of people didn't really buy it, but some people had it. So
Yeah. Well, speaking of cards that we like and everything that we used to like, what is everybody's favorite archetype? And also, what is your favorite card art ever?
Mm.
I feel like archetype is easier to pick than card art.
yeah, of course.
Although I will say one thing, as much as there are plenty of Yu-Gi-Oh art cards that I like, it's way easier to decide in Yu-Gi-Oh than it is Magic. Magic, every single card is like a fucking painting. There's even lands
Yeah.
that have dope ass artwork, Like if we did Magic, we'd be here all day trying to decide what our favorite artwork was. But who wants to start off? Because me, I gotta think about it still. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's one thing I was thinking about all day. I know what my favorite archetype is. I
Mhm.
mean, I don't think it's a surprise to anybody really, but
What is
at
it?
least people who've dueled with me for a while.
What
Can you
is it?
not guess, Abe?
I
I'm
already
torn. Is
know what
it
he's
blue?
talking about.
No, but that's the thing. It's either it could be Blue Eyes,
Is it
could be
Evil
Super
Swarm?
Dragons, could be Evil Swarm.
No, it's not any one of those three, surprisingly.
Damn.
Because like I
Nice.
love
I don't know you anymore.
it's not that you don't know me anymore, it's you don't remember what I was most passionate about before. Whatever cards were like I think Toby might know, but fine, I'll just say it. I don't want to dick tease you guys. My favorite archetype will always be Fire Fist.
Oh,
Because
fuck, I forgot about them.
one, Fire Fist just touches on so many things for me. Like it's kind of like mix of like the lore of them is hella dope, how they were like demons who got a second chance to help like fight off like with these warriors, and then it's also got like Dynasty Warrior-esque like references and like archetype, and then just the idea of like a person with a fire element taking the shape of a different animal, like, and then Fire Fist was the first time in a long time because we in our a lot of people don't know this, but in our particular part in the East Bay, we used to have a lot of card shops growing up and hella places to play, and then slowly, unfortunately, they all fizzled out, and new ones would try to come and go once in a while, but the last time I actually played Yu-Gi-Oh super, super serious and really cared about even practicing at locals was when Fire Fist first came out. And I prided myself on making my Fire Fist a little bit different and a lot of spicy text to help me counter like mirror matches and what else was going on and not be so predictable. And Fire Fist will always be that archetype where like name a single one of their cards that looks bad artwork wise. Like I'll wait, like even their common traps, like every art is like even the shitty traps no one uses, like them jumping together with like two giant fire animals of two different colors, like clashing, and like every card was pretty like rooster, like purple's my favorite color, and that purple flaming like rooster behind him. Plus I'm Mexican, something about the rooster, just and
Got the
like
cock.
something about the cack, but but you know what I mean? Like Fire Fist for me, just for more than one reason. Like, yes, Blue Eyes is one of my favorite monsters, and when it comes to protagonists, like main anime things, Blue Eyes will always be my shit. I mean, I'm literally wearing a Blue Eyes Ultimate shirt, Like, yes, I love Blue Eyes, and my favorite monster of all time goes to Jinzo, hands down. Like, I've always loved Jinzo's artwork, everything. But in terms of archetype, like when you had first asked us this earlier in the day, Toby, I
Mhm.
thought like, okay, I can't answer this question surface level with how many archetypes there are in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, and I know it sounds hypocritical to say that like Fire Fist may not have my favorite monster in it or not even be my favorite monsters, but it's like when I think of every element that you have to think about when talking about an archetype, like even Evil Swarm. Evil Swarm's probably my most favorite deck to play of all time, but Fire Fist was the one that I actually gave hella time to. I pulled most of the cards when they were worth hella money. And the cool thing for Fire Fist is, with the exception of Wolf Bark, most of its cards were never really expensive. Like Bear was only expensive when he first came out if you wanted the ulti. The ulti was like 30 to 40 bucks. But if you just wanted the ultras, it was like 20, 15. And you think about decks nowadays where like before the reprint, you needed 3 droplet to play meta, and that's already over like $300 in just 3 cards. So comparatively not bad. And like I said, Wolfbark, I believe when he first came out, got up to like 70, I think, like 60, and then eventually fizzled out to like 30, 40, and then eventually became useless, especially once we got the new Fire Fist cards years later. But that will always be my favorite like archetype. And before we get to favorite card art, if we're picking a specific card, I'll let you guys say your archetypes first, because that one's the one I'm still thinking about.
For sure.
Archetype, it was easy for me though. Like Fire Fist was just, I don't know. I still try to make the deck, even though now it's complete dog shit with Barrage, Trident, and Band and Tenki being
But
like,
that's a zoo card.
yeah, but Zoo just helped out
Yeah,
extra,
of course.
and-
Zoo's hella broken. Yeah.
but you know what I
One
mean.
card exceeds.
Yeah, but anyways, what's your favorite archetype, Toby?
Uh, all right. So it kind of came down to like two particular archetypes, and for those people that know me, I've been running Exectors for a long time, ever since it came out back in the Ixies era. But
Too long.
ooh,
No, I'm
yeah,
just kidding.
yeah. Joe and I are bitter rivals because they Fire Fist and Inzectors came out around like the same time, and that was a very prominent thing. But when it comes to just general archetype, that comes to mind, that's my favorite. I'd really have to give it to the Shiranuis. Um, Personally, like I love like samurais. I love all of that stuff. Like I'm a big fan of like both wartime samurais, like post-war Ronin, and even like in anime you have like the mystic samurai, like fighting demons and stuff, and that's exactly what Shiranui's is, with the added um with the added bonus of like this whole concept of spirit possession. One thing that I learned, especially with Master Duel, is that
Yeah, I was gonna say a Master Duel.
yeah, Master Duel does a really good job in like expanding on the lore with Shiranui's. Is that the whole Shiranui fighting style revolves around like spirit possession and being in sync with the spirit that's possessing your sword. And I love that. I'm a big sucker for all that kind of mysticism involving spirit possessed swords, samurais, and all of that. And the fact that they have lore tied to one of my strongest decks right now, the Mayakashis, that pretty much just kind of sets a whole high stakes kind of thing in my personal my personal thing. But I love the Shiranuis just because of the fact that like I love samurais, and the Shiranuis just fit the bill. And one personal thing that I love about the Shiranuis as well is that the Shiranuis span 2 generations. If you guys look into the lore, like there's a generation with of course Shiranui samurai, and then going down, if you look into like say sort of the lore, you would notice that I think it was Shiranui Grandmaster, or I think it was Sword Saga, who's also possessed by Shiranui Spectral Sword. So it could mean that the Swordmaster and Samurai are the same person, just a little bit older, and Samurai's granddaughter is Shiranui Squire, who ends up becoming spirit possessed into Shiranui Skill Saga Supremacy, so on and so forth. But I could go on about that. Anyway, that's my whole spiel about that. Shiranuis, I personally think, are my favorite archetype.
Right on.
But
I honestly thought you were gonna say Six Sams, but
Six
I was
Sams
really
came to a close third because of the fact that Six Sams kind of
Third.
had a sort of tie-in to, which is kind of funny, the Seven Samurai, but not close enough. It comes short
Yeah.
on like the actual lore, but oh well. But anyway, who wants to go next?
Go ahead, Trez.
All right, so this question was a lot harder to answer than I thought it was gonna be, because how I approach like my favorites. So I like the anime as well. So I always have like a anime deck, like a deck that one of the characters play, and
So
like
does
a not.
Francisco.
So my favorite probably anime deck of all time is Cyber Dragons, that's the one deck I never like take apart. Like Cyber Dragons is always built. I'll either add to it or not, but like Cyber Dragons is always built. A close second is Elemental Heroes. My favorite shit ever. So I was super excited about
Cyber
it.
Dragons. Heroes.
And then as far as like I said, because I like the anime, as far as like just good archetypes. Well, not even archetypes. I like the number monsters because they were like a plot device throughout the whole season of Zexal,
Mhm.
and because there's 107 numbers, like you can like specific numbers, and like specific numbers lend to a certain archetype. Like 39 Utopia is rank 4 spam, but like 32 is the water support, and then like the upper 90s are all the rank 8 dragons, so that's like galaxy support. So
Oh.
that, and then close second are the dimension dragons from Arc V. So yeah, something that they wove into the whole narrative of it, so they weren't just like, yeah, these are just copycats of protagonists from other seasons, but like their ace monsters meant something to like the overarching narrative of the whole season. So
So number one would definitely be Cyber Dragons for you, though.
yeah, or yeah, and then close second is Elemental Heroes, like super close second.
I
That makes
gotta
sense.
I gotta say, Trez, you very much strike me as the strong shonen protagonist. Like from all the stuff that I've seen, especially social media, like your choices with like a lot of like, your favorite decks, and like, for those of you who don't know, Trez and I are very much into Gunpla, and Trez, I've noticed, like, picks a lot of like the hero Gunpla, and or like the hero Gundams, like the main character mobile suits, and again, Trez, you just strike me
Brain
as that
Gundam.
that very strong shonen main character. Just show them who's boss, Trez.
Yeah, and then like my favorite, like because I like your guys' favorite decks have like good storylines. I really like the World Chalice storyline.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good storyline too.
Like when Dear Girsu's sister dies, and then him and God, what's his name? Abramax, like they split up,
Yeah.
and then they come back later, and they have to fight each other. It's like Naruto and Sasuke type thing. Super cool.
It's
That's
like Naruto and
that's
Sasuke mixed in with like Aerith's death in Final Fantasy VII type shit. Just
we
oh my.
can't be friends. You let my sister die. And it's like, but I loved your sister, and she killed herself. And it's like, it doesn't matter. You were there, and I wasn't. And you were supposed to. And then 4 years later, I brought my sister back from the dead, and she's a robot now. And
Fuck.
fuck the world.
You gotta love her. It's almost like Afro Samurai with Gino and the sister.
Yeah. Oh
He's
my
in that
god.
teddy bear because he's all fucked up.
My
That shit's
goodness.
crazy. When you watch the Afro Samurai movie, how real that shit gets out of nowhere. Hella sad. Yeah, see, that's why the certain archetypes, like I said, just like what Trez said too, is I had to think about like what archetype do I like in multiple levels. Like
Yeah.
every archetype I like, I have at least three things I like about them. But like with Fire Fist, it was like story, artwork, play style, what
Mhm.
they meant to the game with me. Like hella different things. And so I guess now we get to the cream of the crop, mermaids. No, I'm just kidding.
But
Well, that's obviously my favorite archetype. Okay, um, probably for me, it's just more because of when I got back into the game. That was just the first. Technically, Mermails was not the first deck I played because, like I said, I was starting from scratch. So I picked up the Atlantean deck, the Poseidra deck, and that had like heavy infantry and marksman, and that's what I played first because, like I said, I wasn't gonna spend a lot,
That
and then
beat down.
I tried my best. The deck wasn't really good by itself. It steals some games sometimes, but once I wanted to start investing more money and stuff, then I started getting the Mermail cards and things like that. Because Mermails at the time were expensive as shit because it was like new. Because I came back when Tachyon was already out. Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy. That was
yeah,
the
like
set.
around
Fire Fist
2000.
Cardinal came out.
Yeah, like around
Yeah, like Dragon
2013, I
Ruler.
believe.
Dragon
Mhm.
Rulers, Tachyon Galaxy, Dracossack.
Yeah, all that stuff. So, Mermail cards obviously were hell expensive at the time, because level sevens, rank sevens with Draco Sack, all that jazz. So I didn't really play Mermails till later, and also because like I was like, no, I want to keep it Atlantean. Fuck the Mermails. But then like I said I wasn't winning with the Atlanteans. I had to mix in the Mermails. I'm like, damn, the Mermails make it way better. So just played the Mermails. But other than that, I mean, I kind of dabble with a lot of different archetypes, especially now with YugiBOOM. I gotta have new ideas and stuff. But like maybe over the years with the archetypes I've like tried out and stuff. Um, I do like also heroes. I think they're just nostalgic. So like even though like I've made a deck profile hella long ago, but I don't make it anymore. Um, I mean heroes are cool. So I mean I throw that up there. I liked like I think I put it up on Twitter one time. I was like, what would look cool as a secret? And like I said, Hazy Flame. I always liked Hazy Flame just because like I said, if they were hollows, they look hella cool. But since they were all common, it was like, bro, they don't even look cool because they're fucking common. I wish they had like secrets or ultras or supers at least, because they're all like reddish, so they would look cool. Even though blue's my favorite color, like the red would still pop out hella nice. I guess that's why Fire Fist cards look cool too, because of all the fire and the red and just like bah, right?
Yeah.
But I always liked Hazy Flame just because like they have that inherent can't target them with card effects, so that was cool. And also like the Basil Trits or the XCs that they have just is hella OP. Like at the time, Basil like it was kind of hard to summon until they got support from Primal Origins with the Hazy Flame Hydra. But just if you can summon out the Basil Trits, the Flaming Chicken, and you like detach and banish stuff, it was pretty broken back in the day. So that's why I like playing it. And also because it was like a cheap deck at the time to play. So I always liked Hazy Flame. I wish they got new cards, but when that happened, right? Um, some other archetypes, I don't know. Inferable, I liked Inferable Noble Knights when I made that for like a deck profile. They're pretty cool. Um, Pretty consistent. I like their play style. What else? I don't know. It's pretty hard to or you
But
know
you were able to at least name a favorite, so that's good enough. Like at least
yeah.
you have a favorite. You don't gotta name 20 you
I
like.
mean,
You
emails.
could just tell me, Toby, and Trez don't love our favorite as much as you do because there was really no competition for yours.
Well, I mean, like for me, like
We're whores. We love too much.
no, but like on Master Duel, the first deck I made was Mermail. I was like, oh, that's the first deck I'm gonna make. Because it's the one I
The
know the
first deck I
most.
made was Cyber Dragon.
Yeah, see.
I'm, I made Blue Eyes because I knew Skill Drain was at 3.
But I mean, like
Scumbag.
for,
What's the second deck I made? Evil Swarm.
but yeah, I think just yeah, Mermail was my favorite. I just liked it, and I think their art's pretty cool. Like I said, I did wish they get more support cards. Not like because Mermails have gotten support, but like it's usually like the baby stuff, and we finally got the link right. But like I wish they introduced like a new seven. I think that would have been dope. But they never introduced like a new seven. That's the only thing I wish that Mermails got. It's like another level 7, I should say. Because sometimes you summon the Megalo and you're just like, man, Megalo's only 24. And like, especially if you can't equip them with something or point them to the Mermail link, it's just like, it's only 24. I wish he was like just a little bit stronger.
At
You
least
know?
26.
Yeah, like 26 or 27. I'm saying if they made a new Mermail, like kind of like Megalo, discard 2, you summon them, you can I don't know do something. But yeah. Other than that, say Mermail's my favorite.
All right. Well, after post favorite archetype, we'll go to favorite card art, and we'll go reverse. This time we'll go Trez, Abe, Toby, me. So Trez, what is your favorite artwork of all time on a card?
Again, this one's kind of weird. So it's not
How
just
weird.
one, but like the dark versions of the OG elemental heroes
Dark
are
Neos and things like that.
Oh,
are
okay.
like Bersenatrix, Sparkman, and Avion got alternate artworks when Jaden became the Supreme King.
Oh, I remember
Those
those.
artworks.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
those. And then the Dark Cyber Dragon, or like the evil dark art one.
Oh yeah.
Is
That
yeah.
Mm.
one's really cool.
Yeah, I run 3 of those in my Cyber Dragons. Cyber Dragon's another
And
deck, same.
then um a Duster Gold, because he looks super edgy on the building. He looks super smug with his arms crossed.
Yeah, it's just like this, like
Like if
Like
it was
I don't want
raining,
to.
that'd be the start of like the best anime opening.
Yeah.
So
right.
And then
He'd be
the
like
ending
Batman,
song would
probably.
be something hella touching.
Like a ballad.
Yeah, because like all the most violent animes, their outro songs always like "Touch me in the rain," and it's like showing lilies falling and stuff, and like one of the characters is just walking sad, but literally 5 minutes ago he was like cutting 10 heads off and like covered in blood.
Yeah, that's true. Shit.
And then but the opening for that is always like yeah.
It's the most intense thing ever.
Yeah. All right. So Abe, what's your favorite artwork of all time?
Favorite artwork? I don't know. I really don't get too much into the artwork of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Um, so I don't think I really have a favorite.
There's got to be some card
Probably
arts that you've noticed that you like.
card arts. Mm, I don't know. I
or like
think
what
for
deck
me,
has the best aesthetics?
No
best
waifus or
aesthetics.
anything. I know you're all about the waifus. Be
I mean,
honest.
who doesn't love waifus? I mean, Dragon Mage, DMG, fucking who else? Mermaid could also be a waifu archetype too.
That's true.
All the the level 4 and lowers are all chicks, or mermaids, I should say. You know, um, but I think for me, it's just more like I just like rarity more, I guess.
Okay.
I feel like the rarity matters on a card. Like whatever I don't say whatever the art is, but like depending on the rarity, it'll make the art pop out more. So like for
Okay.
me, I always like secret. Like just I'm just I'm I'm basic. I like secret. OTs, I've never really liked OTs too much, but slowly and surely I've been buying a couple OTs here and there. And there's certain cards that look cool as OT, and others that are OT that look meh. You know.
I'll tell you
So
what.
like
I'll tell you what. We'll kind of fix this one for you. What's a secret rare that looks good in your opinion, or a card that looks
dude,
good in
Megalo,
secret?
he looks fucking dope.
Okay.
I finally bought my first edition one, and he fucking looks badass, just
Oof.
right there, ready to fucking chop somebody's head off. You know?
With that bone saw or that jaw saw that he
Yeah, he's
has.
right there. He's not the strongest Mermail because I think Lead is the strongest Mermail or Balin. I forgot which one has more attack, but fucking Megalo, he's ready to fucking just da.
He's the most intimidating.
Yes, because he's a fucking shark.
True. He's cool.
But yeah, that's really it for me. Like I said, I don't really have a favorite card art. I think more like the rarity kind of helps the card art like pop out more. Like probably one card art I would say looks cool is a construct, but like when she was her original ultimate from the Duelist Alliance,
Okay.
like that one looks really dope. I think that one looks dope. Like the way she like pops out and shit,
Mm-hmm.
like that I really do like the way the way old ultis used to look. Like now they look a little bit different. So like I said, certain cards look cool, others meh. But yeah, so that's just me on my card art.
So I don't know who's gonna go next. Joe, did you have something in mind? No, no, not yet. All
You
right.
go.
Okay.
Oh,
All
you're
right.
I
next,
already
Joe.
know mine. I already know mine. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if anything, personally, wow, when it comes to card art, I think right now what I've been really looking at are the danger card arts. I personally think they're hilarious because of the fact that, of course, like, for those who don't know, like, the dangers revolve around, like, cryptids such as Bigfoot, the Ogopogo
Myths,
Mothman,
legends,
literally based off of, like, what they're named after. But
Chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
Chupacabra. But I just love how like breathtaking a lot of like the card art in the danger archetype is, like just how
Tsuchinoko is fire.
and that's
That
He's a
another
bat
thing
fat
snake.
too.
snake.
Like so like with like say Bigfoot or Nessie, like these are just these grandiose monsters, right? Super big compared to like a person in scale. Like a person is just like that tiny compared to like say like someone in size like Bigfoot, and like seeing Ogopogo in that card art, like in the dark, that's scary as hell.
Plus, I already thought Bigfoot was raw, and then they gave him that alternate art where he's a Yeti instead,
That's
and
even
that
Just
more
one's
no.
hella.
badass.
Yeah, that one's hella sick.
Yeah. And then of course you go to like the cuter dangers such as jackalope and like
Neck.
Tsuchinoko, Snake. But I just love also the fact that like their name changes to like having a question mark because like danger? Because like yeah, you're right. Like you see like a fat snake in which like, you know, it's also based off of like a real folklore thing, the Tsuchinoko. Yeah, it's just literally a fucking fat snake. Like, would you really be intimidated by that? Or like a cute little bunny with like antlers? Yeah, like it's I love how the names also kind of tie into like, you know, the arts as well. But yeah, like
Yeah,
They
you're
need to
right.
make
dangers.
Like the
a.
little ones have the
They,
question mark,
Yeah.
but the
they
big
need.
ones just have the exclamation mark, like
They,
danger.
they
Yeah.
need to make a danger duende. Like
They
A
should. Oh
gnome.
my god.
that'd be
Duende
Like a
sick.
dig
level
And he's
two
like
or
running
something.
away with your sock or something, you know? Like he's just and then somebody in the
Like little
background's like,
gremlins.
yeah.
That's so smart. Duende little dwarves, little mound dwarves picking up like all your random trinkets that end up going missing. Oh man.
Gotta go to work all day.
Excellent
Yeah, yeah.
addition to the dangers. Hell yeah. I'm down for that. Konami, are you
So
listening? Pay us.
so Dangers collectively then is like your favorite artwork of all time.
Dangers and like a close second I have to say are kaijus because
Yeah,
like
kaijus are cool.
everything just looks so badass, like especially with like when you get like two kaijus together in like the card art, like they're just battling out, or like when you get like the one kaiju in like a giant landscape, like it's just cool. Again, I like the very breathtaking looking cards, like just very grand scale.
Mhm.
But yeah, anyway, Joe, what about you?
So mine kind of like spoiled it earlier anyways, but it kind of part of the reason why it's my favorite is not only because it's my favorite monster of all time, but like going to what Abe said earlier, where like the rarity is what makes a card sometimes. Like for me it's Jinzo, and something about like you know the older cards how they were just like printed differently, like something about that Pharaoh's servant Jinzo, you know, like is just so pretty, like that deep dark, like I mentioned this earlier, but like purple's my favorite color, and like that mix of purple and pinks, and just the way he looks, and like you know he just looks like a menacing ass dude, and the fact that like in old school Yu-Gi-Oh he was a devastating card because like traps where you're out for a lot of things. And then even Jinzo's alternate art, you know, like I love that one too. I have that somewhere in my
Yeah.
collection. Yeah. And like I like even though they suck, the newer Jinzo cards all had pretty cool art too, you know? Like
Hmm.
and for me Jinzo's just like I mean, look at that one more time, you know? Like it's so pretty. And I just like the way that it's like darker and it just looks cool because like even though it's not that much newer, even the tin version of Jinzo, which I don't have, I only have Pharaoh Servant ones. The tin one even looks a little bit brighter and it kind of makes it a little different, you know? And then my close seconds would probably be like obviously Blue Eyes. That's just I feel like even if you don't like Kaiba, the original Blue Eyes artwork is just pretty as hell. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's just like a really nice looking card. And then overall, though, going along with the alternate art Jinzo, I have a couple of the other of those collector edition arts, and every single one of those are badass to me. Like the Celtic Guardian, the Summoned Skull, the Dark Magician, the Red Eyes. First of all, the Obelisk is and the Slifer were two of the coolest artworks. Like when they made Obelisk all realistic and hella close up, and then that Slifer where he's like spiraling and just looks hella realistic. I remember before they reprinted those, that Slifer was like almost $200 back
Oh
in the
shit.
day. Because I think they all only came out in Jump or something as they're printing.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
I remember when I built a Frog Obelisk deck back in the day, I wanted those alternate art obelisks. And because the deck would have been dirt cheap, but because I wanted the alternate art obelisks, because I believe the alternate arts at one point in Yu-Gi-Oh were the only playable ones. They hadn't printed the original God card art on a playable card yet.
That's
So
correct,
like
yeah.
if you wanted to play obelisk, I could be wrong on that. Correct me in the comment section below if I'm wrong. But I'm almost sure that they were the only versions of the gods you could run at first.
That and Raw didn't even have like a print of of like a tournament legal card yet either around that time, so it was only just those two.
Yeah, and then Raw got its eventually too. Where his alternate art is the one that kind of sucked though, because he looked kind of cartoonish in his versus Obelisk
Yeah,
and
he just looked like a
Slifer.
chicken.
Yeah, Obelisk and Slifer got hella cool, realistic looking art. So then, like I said, like the Dark Magician looked hella different. He almost looked like a manga drawing, and then the
Yeah.
Red Eyes is like standing on that planet, or whatever the hell. It's like a meteor or something. But yeah, Jinzo, once again, one last time, pow. But Jinzo will always be one of my best artworks, and I can't stop looking at it, honestly. But yeah, that's let us know in the comment section below how trash you think our picks were. No.
Yeah,
But let us know down below. What's your favorite archetype? What's your favorite card art?
exactly. And sort of
It,
what's that?
no, nothing. I was just gonna say it works perfect that we, happen to talk about our favorite archetypes and card arts.
Yeah. But yeah, awesome. Like, a lot of these more interesting things that like a lot of people don't necessarily talk about when it comes to the game. Like just we never really take a moment to just smell the flowers, so to speak, when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! Like just to appreciate a lot of the small things when it comes to this game. Let alone even what the game is based off of, because let's not forget, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was never about like the cards. Like season 0, like what was all about like these random death games, like these death wagers, and that's how they tied in like the sort of card game. Like the card game was like a game of death at first, but then you know whoever produced like the anime, I think it was like two different animation studios, they were like, how can we market this? And that's when they decided to shift focus on like the cards. But seldom we forget that like the Yu-Gi-Oh card game has like a tie-in anime, and it's an anime that we come to know and grow with and love. Unfortunately for us in the US, we dealt with a lot of like very family friendly made for Christian edits thanks to 4Kids Entertainment. So we have a lot of favorite moments from that too, but any
A
particular
lot of censoring.
a
A
lot of
lot of censoring.
censoring, a lot of like removal of certain things, but is there any
This
favorite?
is
What's up?
it pretty much goes like this. This is how it looks in Japan. This is how it looks in 4Kids.
Yeah,
Just that covering of the skin a little bit.
pretty
Here's
much.
my cleavage. Now here's 4Kids.
Yes, 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 very much, and it
Here's
kind
my
of
gun. Here's my finger.
and it ties into this whole discussion of favorite moments within the series, whether it's like favorite series, like whether it's like the first series, GX, 5Ds, so on and so forth, or if it's like favorite moments from the 4Kids edits, because I have one particular when it comes to that, and a picture to sort of accompany that, but we'll get into that. But guys, let's talk anime. Let's talk 4Kids. Let's talk all this interesting stuff that this wonderful card game that we play is based off of. So
Well, the best character is Joey, hands down. No room for discussion. Like, I mean, easy. My sister's blind, Yug, while everybody else has something super serious and like souls in the balance fighting for. He's just like, hey, did I tell you my sister's blind? It's just like,
you don't
no.
you don't think a blind sister is serious? You wouldn't try to help your own sister?
I mean, you can live blind. You can't live soulless, Like, trapped in a dungeon of a creepy dude with a fake eye. Like, what would you rather be, blind or in a dungeon with no soul to a weird guy who goes, ooh?
Ooh.
I'm just
Well,
saying, there was more at stake for the other players. But I like that stuff in Yu-Gi-Oh! That's what I'm saying. Like, I know always when it's edited or translated, it's a little bit different and stuff. But all that aside, I laugh at dissecting stuff you're not supposed to be focusing on too much. Like the fact that Bandit Keith was a grown-ass man punking kids into dueling for him and then having the nerve to waste his own time away from his prime goal at killing Pegasus to beef with other kids and lure one into a cave and make some weirdo duel him. Like, just things like that, or the fact that like every time Yugi's going into a speech about like I love my friends and they'll never let me down, one of his friends is always to the side watching him say that to the person he's dueling, and like as Yugi's talking, someone's always like, Yugi, like they can't believe he's saying this heartfelt thing about him, even though he did it 2 episodes prior.
Jeez.
And like the
Oh
My
god.
Perfume stuff, or like, even in the newer seasons, like I just love how annoying Utopia Boy was in the English dub, just "You number 39 Utopia." Like every time he had a chance, I was just like, ooh, maybe just whisper it next time.
Or just
Who's
say
your
it
favorite
normally.
protagonist though? Out of
Favorite
all five
protagonist?
Jaden.
Ys,
You
yeah.
Jaden, yeah, what the fuck?
Damn.
There's
Bruh,
no
it's
question there.
Yugi, bruh. Come on, like, bruh.
No, it's not. First of all,
He's my favorite.
Yugi let Weevil throw Exodia over the boat. If Weevil threw my Exodia over the boat, he would have been not 2 feet after those cards.
He's got a point. That was kind of a
But
pushover
four
move on
I'd have
kids,
been
Yugi's
like,
part.
damn, that sucks. You
but
know?
four kids can't do that, so that's why they didn't throw him off the boat. They had to edit him not throwing him off the boat.
Just saying, man.
True,
Tristan and
Well,
Joey were the only ones down to just swing on people all the time. They
true.
didn't really ever succeed, but it's more of the spirit of it. But yeah, I agree with Trez though, Jaden all the way. I mean, I like Yugi. I don't dislike Yugi, roasting aside, but yeah, I mean, just in terms of like cooler cards and just what he did, I guess, it's like Yugi seemed to get himself in the same dumb shit. Like it was like a different face, same scenario every time. It's either dueling some evil wizard in the Seal of Orichalcos, or dueling this dude who's got his shirt off over an ocean, or dueling this guy who has little brothers I don't know about cheating for him, or dueling this chick who's got perfume and she's cheating. How many times are you gonna let someone cheat against you before you realize you're never gonna get a fair duel in your life? Like, you think Yugi would start telling people like, "All right, we're gonna duel, but this is my homie. He's gonna pat you down. We're gonna perimeter check. I'm gonna check your ears for an earpiece. Uh, every time you're gonna draw, I'm gonna run over to the other side and just watch your hand on your deck if that's cool." Like,
But no, you get like Bandit Keith situations where people end up getting entrapped in like some cave being forced to duel.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
God.
Yeah, even Bandit Keith, he would have like cards literally up his sleeve.
Yeah.
He would just change out. Yeah, I think he did that.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally up his sleeve, being the snake that he is. In which I kind of wanted to talk about my personal favorite moment. Sort of tying into Bandit Keith, being in which one thing I've always wondered, we never really discussed this. How old is Bandit Keith? How
I
old are
have no idea.
how old,
Too damn old
how
to
old
be
are the
fighting
people?
children.
How old are the kids he's hanging out with, like in Duel Island? I mean, come on.
I like 14.
Come on, man. Like, you be scamming kids, stealing their money and shit. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about.
So yeah, Bandit Keith is fucking, according to what I was able to Google, Bandit Keith is 26 at the time when they're all in that tournament.
26 amongst like what I'm guessing is high schoolers. Okay. Wow. But okay, so one thing that I wanted to talk about, ever since I was a little kid, I would always observe things in like movies, find editing inconsistencies, things wrong on set. And one thing that I've noticed, especially with like the 4Kids edit in particular, 4Kids does a lot of very bad Photoshop overlaying when it comes to censoring like any sort of like offensive material. Of course, Monster Reborn is like a prime example, a card that's been censored. Or if you look into the anime, you have people pointing instead of people holding guns. One in particular that I like to cite on the anime itself is the case of Barrel Dragon, a card that we know, like on the card arts, made to look like a sort of rail cannon, sort of with sparks coming out of it. But when we look at the OCG art, he takes the form of like a 6-barrel revolver pistol. One thing that I've noticed in the anime, and I've recently done this with the power of Netflix and an HD TV, I was able to snap a photo, like one single frame of that in between where four kids forgot to edit like a single frame of like the revolver of Barrel Dragon, and like in the next frame is literally just the Photoshop overlay. So editor, put it up on screen, you'll see it here. And for you guys, I have it up on Discord, is literally this image, or not Discord, Slack. It's gonna be up on the podcast ideas channel. That's the
Oh, I
photo.
see it. I see
Yeah.
the revolver.
So it's
Yeah.
This fool, 10:07. What are you? This fool that night. Toby's got strings on his wall with Barrel Dragon and Buster Blader. He's like, there was a sword shine in this episode, but then in the next frame it was gone.
Yeah, exactly. That's literally like all I've been doing. Like during that time, like I was watching Yu-Gi-Oh, just finding like editing inconsistencies, and that was like the funniest I've seen. Just that one frame, because it shows when you play it. It shows like just exactly like a tiny one frame of a second, like 1/24th. Like you'll see it just like just that turn into that, like just poof, like an angel's kiss.
I'm gonna need you to watch all the Dark Magician Girl episodes, see if you can get some side boob for us.
I'll try to look for some side boob for you. But yeah, that's one of my personal moments. There's way more that you'll see in the anime, but like that's one that like always just sticks into mind, and one that I actually personally have proof for. So yeah, just one thing to point out. Guys, who wants to go next?
Either Abe or Trent.
I'll go next.
Okay.
All right.
Favorite anime moments. In Arc V, spoiler alert, it's been out for like 5 years though, so like if you haven't
We've
seen
all
it.
seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen everything. I've
Just
even
seen it,
seen
but don't worry about it.
Yeah, you're good.
But when Shun, I think that's his dub name, goes against Sora, so the Raid Raptor dude goes against the Pfeiffer dude.
Mm-hmm.
So like whole season, you're looking at the Pfeiffer dude like, yeah, he's cool, he's kind of creepy because like his fusion monsters are weird, and he gets kind of like psycho when he like duels, and then you see this new guy and you're like, he's super edgy and he's like knocking off all the good people and we don't know why. And then like throughout the duel you figure out like, oh no, this Pfeiffer dude is the evil dude and this Raid Rapper dude is like, oh, he's one of the good guys. But like the duel's amazing, the art is just legit, and then like the rest of the anime took a tone shift, like, oh, so like this isn't all cuddles and roses and everybody like can chill out and duel. Like, no, there's stakes, and yeah, there's a multiversal war. They did it before Marvel did.
Yeah, basically.
They had
The
their
most ambitious
Thanos.
crossover in history.
Yeah,
And then my
oh, sorry.
or go ahead, my bad.
No, I was gonna say, like, you mentioned like, everything in Zexel taking a turn. I personally kind of had that
Perfect.
impression too, especially when like, the gimmick puppets came out. Like I personally thought that was gonna be like the end all to like, Zexel, but it was
I
pretty
remember
cool.
that battle
Yeah, when
too,
like
though, because
four,
Yeah.
because
yeah,
that
when like
battle was
four
sick
went
too.
against Shark,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and he's like, nope, I'm the Barian Emperor now. And you're like, oh shit, like this is
It was super
about.
badass.
I knew he was a rival, but like now he's the main antagonist. And then like the end of what was the end of Reigns, when like the main character's little sidekick ends up being like the main villain, and he bodies the main cast except the protagonist in like 4 episodes.
Damn.
Mhm.
No, but what were you gonna say, Joe?
Legit.
No, I was just gonna go in on like how that specifically a lot of the battles Trez was mentioning is like it's also when we started getting like it started obviously with the Utopia and stuff, but like once they started animating the monsters to be all 3D like that
Oh.
and stuff, like made shit way cooler. And then they like for the first battle he described, I remember they were getting like physically hurt in that one too. Like I remember he
yeah.
sends his Raid Raptor at him, and then Homeboy Pfeiffer dude ends up like doing some crazy shit like dodging stuff, and then like I just remember he had like a lollipop too. He was super weird. But yeah, and then like in Reigns and all that stuff too, like everything just looked a lot cooler. So it made it feel like more depth. Not to take anything away from old Yu-Gi-Oh, because I know we all shit our pants as kids the first time we saw Black Luster Soldier like come through the
Oh
ritual
hell
thing.
yeah.
You know, like we were all like, damn, that's crazy. You know, like and then like all that stuff, you know, Dragon Master Knight, like the old stuff was cool shit. Even all those Karibos flooding the screen, like, you know, was like, hey, like, why can't I do that with Karibo, you know? But there's a lot of good anime moments. I'm curious as to what your favorite moments are, Abe.
Mine, I like the Battle City duel versus Kaiba and Yugi
Uh-huh.
when like they go at it. And fucking Merrick's just right there, like hella like in between the the CG or the like the hologram. He's just like watching it the whole time. Um,
And like Slifer wraps around the blimp.
yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
No, actually, not. They're not the Blimp. Remember, they're at the
Oh,
tower.
the Coliseum?
I think, right? Yeah, because remember, it was the final four.
Oh yeah. You're right. You're
I
right.
think that's how it was, if I remember correctly. I forget, but anyways, but I like that duel between them because like Yugi looked like he was gonna lose, and then like Kaiba was like, on the wall, and then finally, and it looked like Kaiba, not to say he was gonna win, but like, he was fucking Yugi up. He's like, oh, you can only pick 3 cards or whatever it was, and that's all you can play. And freaking Yugi just like psyched him out. And I ended up winning with Dark Paladin and Defusion. Defusion fucked him up. I was like, oh fuck Defusion. I never would have thought of that. But that's why like the Pharaoh is like my favorite like protagonist, like anime protagonist in general, just because he just outsmarted you. Like he would outsmart Kaiba all the time, and that's why Kaiba would probably always get mad at
Yeah,
losing.
Kaiba would literally just add more offense to his deck every time and then run into like a magic cylinder.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
or just be
But
like,
like I said, imagine like the Pharaoh thinking like, damn, I can only pick 3 cards to put in my deck. I'm gonna pick these 3, and like somehow he knew that Kaiba was gonna summon Ultimate Dragon, and then he had diffusion wave motion to summon the Dark Paladin or to give the Dark Paladin more attack and stuff like that. So it's like he just outsmarted him basically. And also the thing that I love the most about that duel was at the end when Yugi attacks with Dark Paladin to kill the Blue Eyes. Like the fucking the image, it shows Yugi like when he's doing the attack, he's like this in the most menacing like stance, and then it's just Kaiba's voice going like damn you Yugi, I'll get my day one day, and it's just Yugi like this with all the wind going around. He's just like in the most menacing pose.
You
He's
you
like,
gotta
oh,
send me a screen cap of that. We
I
have to show
will,
it on screen.
I will. Just it looks so stupid because like he looks so awkward. He's just like this, and then just Kaiba like ranting like I will get my day, and then but yeah, that's like one of my favorite duels. Also, my other favorite moment didn't happen in the anime, but it was in the movie, The Dark Side of Dimensions.
oh, I know what
Um,
you're gonna say.
Bro, when the fucking Pharaoh came back, like, come on, bro. I
Oh,
went to the
okay.
movies. I went to the movie theater to go watch that. It was me, Francisco, Armando, and then like Rez was there, and like 3 other people. I forgot. We went deep, and like when we were all in the movie theater, and then when like freaking Yugi was like, he's like, I just gotta believe in the heart of the cards, but he freaking like falls, but then you just hear, it's hella quiet. That's the one thing. It's hella quiet, and then you just hear the bing, and then everybody's like, "Oh, I swear to God!" Everybody in the movie theater lost their shit. And then once, like the beam kind of went away, and then you see the silhouette of the Pharaoh. Everybody's like, "Oh fuck, he's back! He's back!" Like I'm not kidding you, dude. Everybody lost their shit, and we're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah!"
Yeah,
And then
Abe
obviously
was
he
in
wins
his
and everything.
Abe was in his chair, and like the person in front of him was like, "Who spilled this soda in front of me? What the hell?"
But
Yeah,
yeah,
Abe
like
was so
that.
soaked.
Yeah, I was wet, dude. But like anyway, um, but I was soaked in soda. But no, but that was just one of my favorite moments because like obviously I wasn't expecting that
Yeah.
in the movie, but like the fact that like when it happened, like everybody in the movie theater, like kind of like when in Endgame, when everybody comes back and everybody was cheering and shit. That's exactly what it was.
Okay.
It was just like him coming back, and everybody's like, "Yeah, he's back. He's gonna fuck him up. He's gonna fuck him up." And it's just, yeah, it was great. I love it, and I
Kill
love
him!
rewatching that
Kill
scene.
him!
It gets me choked up. It gets me choked up every time I see it. So
It's a very
yeah,
pivotal moment, very
yes,
memorable.
it is.
What's crazy is Kaiba invented time travel just to get a rematch.
I
That
Right?
know.
is
Fucking so
true.
Do you want to
He
talk
yeeted
about
himself into the
obsessive,
earth.
unhealthily obsessive? Like, you're rich, bro. You can be on vacation right now, and that's what you're doing with your time. Like, how salty are you?
Of
That's why
course,
he got turned into a PlayStation 5.
of course, when Yu-Gi-Oh like comes up with like a time traveling like concept and its plot, Kaiba would be the one to invent it. No one for something petty, no less.
Yeah. He didn't go back to stop any of the
Jesus.
bad stuff that's happened to everybody. It's to get a rematch.
Uh,
Simulate my rematch. Oh man, the
that's a
anime
good
is great. Once
observation.
again, in the comment section below, let us know who's your favorite character and why. What's your favorite anime moment and why, even if it comes from a movie. I'm curious to see what other people have to say, because there's some good ones. I could say Kaiba just touching the ground and be like, it's not a monster, it's a god, and just
Oh
cheating
yeah,
and
of course
summoning
he
Obelisk.
smacks it, and then
Even though the
Obelisk
dude
comes
has like
out.
the full cubic shit against him, he's like, you can't summon any monsters, it's not a monster. Like,
Jesus.
And Obelisk is just like hello ripped, like
yeah, and then like takes out like the whole place. But yeah, that's hilarious. But you know what? With all the talk of creative favorites and everything, we get into Toby's most juicy idea yet, I'd
Ooh.
say, to round us off for the night.
So
And
before we get into that, let's kind of remind our audience where they are. This is, of course, the YugiBOOM podcast. Just a little bit of acknowledgments tossing in there, like midway into the podcast. Please support us on all our social medias: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Check us out on the link below. We have a TCG Player affiliate link. Support the channel in any way you can. Support your boys. We're very hardworking on the clock. Even off the clock, when we're on our regular day-to-days, we still try to come up with these ideas, try to entice our audience. But check us out
Rogue
on all those
we're
Network,
men.
platforms. What's up?
Rogue Network,
Rogue
we're your
Network.
Rogue Network. But anyways, yeah.
Anyways, so before we kind of wrap up the podcast, I kind of have a little game. And Abe, kind of introduced it in a very excellent segue. I don't know if you guys caught it, but he mentioned Avengers. So, one thing that I kind of wanted to do was I wanted to pull a Nick Fury and assemble a team. I want to build a team of our personal Avengers. So basically, here are the rules. We want to try to come up with 2 examples of monsters within the whole Yu-Gi-Oh catalog. 2 monsters that are of humanoid or sentient persuasion. So basically, anyone who appears to look human or appears to be sentient in any sort of way. Any sort of like card art or lore or any tie-ins, as a bonus. Like, say if like a monster transforms into a different form, that applies too. Say in the sake of like or in the case of Dark Magician, he has a lot of like card art lore. Dark Magic Attack is like one of his attacks in the form of like a spell card, so on and so forth. You get the idea. But yeah, so pretty much I'd like for each of us to come up with 2 monsters from the entire catalog of, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, monsters, spell cards that turn into monsters, whatever the case may be. Who wants to go first?
And then at the end of this, we're gonna pick between our choices collectively and try to draft a perfect 5
Oh, that's right.
Avengers.
So we're gonna
So,
come up with like a team of 5 Yu-Gi-Oh monsters in the form of Avengers.
Avengers.
And so for these choices, I also want you guys to come up with justifications, sort of parallels to say like existing superheroes that exist. Like as I mentioned before, like Dark Magician, you could kind of clearly see ties to someone like say Zatanna or Doctor Fate from the DC universe, or say Doctor Strange from Marvel. Something similar to that. So, who wants to step
I
on
want
the
to go
podium?
last.
You want to go last? Okay.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
Trust me, I have to go last.
Okay.
Well,
Because I'm gonna make a
let
really good
Trez
point.
go first because he kind of spoiled his in our little just private chat.
Okay.
So,
All right.
like,
So
I want to hear
Trez,
his.
since you did kind of share
And I
us,
think
I'd
he
like
has a good one.
he did have some good choices. So like I want to hear like the justifications behind this. So Trez, if you will.
Okay, so what have I changed?
Oh, okay.
Okay,
last
whatever it
minute.
is.
But I was thinking Sky Striker Ray should be on the team
Yeah, of course.
because I'm assuming she made all her suits, or maybe she's just in the school where everybody gets a suit. But either way, she's highly trained and whatnot, and she can fight.
Very Iron
And then,
Man parallel.
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. And then she has a whole bunch of forms, so it'll be cool. And she also has a antagonist with Rose, so yeah, she already has somebody who can team up with some other people.
Nice.
Evil team, which we may or may not make later. If this goes well, but yeah. So yeah, Sky Striker Rose. I kind of wanted to do Elemental Hero Neos for the same reason because they have a lot of forms, but I
Mhm.
think it'd be kind of weird because Neos has to fuse with a different person every
Mhm.
time. I thought it'd be kind of weird for him to have to do that every time. So, and then
Well, maybe he
my
could pick one of his forms. You know, like which form would be the best of his that would exist.
and then the next one I picked was the Vendred guy as somebody
Oh.
edgy on the team, and he does have an upgraded form. And like I said, he already has antagonists in his card lore. So like I said, that'd be another person like for an antagonist team. So yeah, those are
Okay,
my two
okay.
picks.
I'm gonna write these down so I don't forget them. So Trez's two picks, minusing the Neos was the Vendred guy and Ray.
Yeah, Sky Striker away. That's awesome. I really like the Vendred mostly because I get like Spawn vibes. Like I dig that a
Yeah.
lot. Those are
Okay,
those are awesome ass fucking choices. Dang.
those are. Now I feel
I like
stupid
I
for what
like
I
I like
said.
Sky
I'm just
Striker
kidding.
one.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, Abe.
Me? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess maybe one that would be pretty cool. Kind of like in the Doctor Strange, like especially with the movie coming out soon.
Ooh.
I think one cool like person like would be cool be to have and not just because everybody hates normal summoning him, okay? But Alistair, I think he'd be pretty cool with like his little book he has and all his spells, and all the monsters he can conjure up with those. With like Makaba and fucking Purgatrio, Caliga, all these other things. And also he has like another form too, the Link version of him. If I mean, I guess I don't know the lore too well, but I would assume he gets like possessed or some shit like that. So that could be like his ultimate form, I guess you could say. Um, but I think Alistair would be a cool one, kind of like the Doctor Strange thing, because they can just summon out these freaking beasts out of nowhere and just attack somebody. Another one, not just because I love mermaids, but I think Megalo would be dope because since the mermaids work with the Atlanteans, like he can have an army of Atlanteans to come to help,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
just fuck them up. Because like imagine like kind of like in the first Avengers movie, it's six of them or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Versus a whole freaking alien army. It was just six versus whoever, how many of those there were. But it'd be cool if one of them can summon out an army from the water and just come and just start, fucking everybody up. So
Yeah.
I think Megalo would be cool because I think he would be, like I said, he's I guess somewhat humanoid, and like I said, he's just ready to fight. You know,
No, yeah.
um,
That works.
and I think he would be the best fighter actually, even more than like either Balin or like Lead, even though they're the stronger mermaids. But I think Megalo is just like the more like the best warrior out of all the mermaids, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I get like King Shark meets like Aquaman, especially when you mention the army thing.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I would think it would be pretty cool. Megalo would be dope. But
That's
yeah, those
dope.
are my two: Alistair and then Megalo.
So, I don't know. Did you want to go next or did you want me to go next?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So for these ones, I kind of went with, some of my favorites. I looked towards my favorites for this one. So the first choice I kind of had was Shiranui Shogun Saga, on the basis that he kind of operates in a similar way to Thor when he gets his hammer, because Shiranui Shogun Saga is supposed to be Shiranui Samurai and Shiranui Spectral Sword when they achieve like total synchronization and when Spectral Sword possesses Samurai. So I kind of get like a sort of Doctor Fate vibe from that, mixed in with like a little bit of mysticism, sort of driving from like, you know, sort of Japanese folklore, like sort of adding in that little flavor. So that's kind of my justification behind it, with like a little bit of like a Thor sort of power type character, you know what I mean? And another one I kind of had in mind was the Insectors, but one that I wanted in particular was Insector Dragonfly. On the rules that, or on the basis that, like, if he operates off of shedding off and, like, you know, putting on certain armors and equipment, such as you know, the Excalibur or Zectcalibur, or if he uses Gigamantis, Gigaweevil, Exostag, and Exabeetle as armors, because I believe that's how they're supposed to operate. They kind of cast off like their armors to turn into like different Insector powered up forms, so to speak. And that's kind of similar to like Iron Man, but kind of how I see it is I don't there's a Kamen Rider series called Kamen Rider Kabuto that kind of operates the same way. They're based off of like insects, and they kind of shed off armors, like literally like the transformation sequence just goes like cast off, like, and then their armors sort of come off, and then his horn comes up taking the form of like a rhinoceros beetle, and it's really cool. But that's kind of the vibe I get from that, and those are my two entries for the Avengers. So, or
Oh,
Yu-Gi-Oh!
one thing I
Avengers.
wanted to add with mine was with Megalo. I forgot. They also get equip spells. So like the Biscuit Mizuchi, the Kraken, and the Cetus. So he can also have cool armor.
Yeah,
Depending on what the situation is, and he can put that on.
yeah,
I
exactly,
got to add that too with Mermails.
exactly. But yeah,
Pretty cool.
but
Pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, I was gonna choose Jinzo originally for one of mine, but I felt like I already picked him for too many categories. So what I ended up settling on is for my first person, I chose Dragoonity Ducks, because if you pay attention, he's riding most of the Dragoonity dragons in their artworks. There is a couple where it's like that one girl and stuff like that, but pretty much if he's part of the Dragoonity family, you know, he could be more on the mystical side, like Iron Fist-esque and stuff like that.
yeah,
And he literally has a menagerie of dragons that all do different things. Like when you said we could break down the cards in detail to like how we think they'd be perceived, it's like I think about how all the Dragoonities do different effects. Like some destroy, some recover, some banish. So they would each different dragon would have like otherworldly powers, you know? And then just like the Dragoonity new spells where he's like showing all the dragons coming, you know, the one that lets you synchro from the deck hella easy and stuff. Like he could easily when he has to like summon multiple dragons, and it might like take a lot out of him, but like he could. I just picture him flying through this like multiple dragons flying through the sky, and he's like jumping between them with his spear, you know, like coming to get you. And it kind of be along like the lines of like Megalo, you know, like you could see the other Yu-Gi-Oh Avengers like failing against this giant army and be like, where's our support? And then all of a sudden from the ocean the Atlanteans come, and then from the sky all the Dragoonities come, and then he could be like the Wakanda-esque person too, because he has the other Dragoonity knights, you know, so he could be like, here comes my other homies on their dragons, and it's a dragon party, you know, like
yeah.
just. And then the last one I picked, and it works perfectly, and I'm glad I went last because I knew nobody was gonna pick a lame plain Jane person. I just knew you guys weren't. And one thing you have to accept about the Avengers is for every Thor and Hulk and Vision and Wanda, there's a Black Widow or like someone who's just
Captain
really like
America.
simple.
Oh.
So I'm gonna go with Jerry Beansman. He is cognitive. He's got legs. He's a bean. So like they can
I'm dead.
easily make sense of him. They hear me out. They
No!
can easily make him like his Guardians of the Galaxy type movie, like Mantis type character, you know, who like they go to some weird world, and the next thing you know, there's like they're like trying to find food to eat, and then there's this big bean, and then they touch it, and he turns around like, "Hey, what are you doing? I'm sleeping here." And I don't know why he talks like that, but you know, he's just like a bean with
Oh
a
my
cake.
god.
He has a sword and a shield, you know? He's really plain. Like everybody's got powers, and he just comes rolling in, or he pops out of a bean pod and just has his sword and
Yeah,
shield, and he's just
he's the heart of the team. We get the comic relief from him.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. You know, and then you know they'd make a mockery of him for a while, and then there'd be a one of the movies he'd get hurt hella bad, and he'd be like on life support where they're pumping
He'd be
like
like the
vegetable
Hawkeye.
juice. Yeah, they're like pumping vegetable juice into him, and they're like, I don't know if he's gonna make it, man. this bean's been boiled, you know? Like I don't and then they're like, well, where'd you get the name Jerry, you know? And he's like, he has some background for that too, you know? Like
Jeez.
His
and
favorite show is
also,
Seinfeld.
let's taking it a completely different direction. Jerry Bean's man also might imply he wasn't always a bean. He
Yeah.
might have one day just been a man named Jerry and a bad experiment. You know, maybe that one guy who's like on the Kazaki escape button or that mad scientist guy on that one trap that's banned, like for the fusions. Like
Yeah.
maybe they had something to do with his experiment. You know, like Fantastic Four had an experiment go wrong, create the Hulk. Yukio had an experiment go wrong, create Jerry Beans Man. You know,
It's
and we
likely.
don't know how big Jerry Beans Man really is. You know, I
I
mean, I think he's been in the show actually, but.
I say it's about time we've had a Jerry Beans archetype introduced into Yu-Gi-Oh if that's the case.
Well, now comes the hardest part. Out
Ooh.
of these 8 contenders, who do we, and you have to be objective here. You know, if other people's choices are better than yours, you gotta be honest about it. So, with that being said, we already know Jerry Beansman takes slot 1. No, I'm just kidding.
Obviously.
Just saying, I'm just saying, but no, okay. Jokes aside, collectively as a group, when we read the first 8, who do we think is like a no question out of the first 8? I think right now, just to cover most bases of what the team should have,
Hmm.
I think we should decide between. I think like Ray and Alistair are the first two that stick out because they're in their category, and then the Vendred guy and the Inzector guy plus my Dragoonity guy kind of fill like similar roles, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
But who do you guys think out of all these first 8 stand out the best?
Hmm.
Like that has to be like on the team regardless.
Well, we
Personally,
definitely need
Ray.
Megalo. We need Megalo because we need a big guy.
yeah,
Yeah, and true, Megalo's also the only person who dwells in the sea.
that's true.
Like everybody else is either like otherworldly or tech or like undead, but Megalo's the only one who's like ocean.
Yeah, like a force of
Ocean.
nature.
All right, I agree with that. So Megalo could take the first spot for sure. Like especially because Megalo would have like the really pretty CGI movies for his stuff, you know. Like even though
True.
Aquaman was boring, it looked cool, you know. Like
I'd have to give the second slot to Ray mostly because of the fact that when you think Avengers, a character that sticks out obviously is Iron Man, and Ray obviously fits that bill when it comes to her armors, her maneuvers, of course having like a foil character, Sky Striker Rose.
Gotta be versatile.
Exactly.
yeah,
You
well
know.
that's the thing too. She could have different levels to her shit, you know.
Mm-hmm. So Sky Striker Ray definitely second spot, I feel like.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that too. And next, it's tough. It gets tough after here, you know? Like,
Yeah.
well, to be
I think
real, since we,
Alistair, so we can have somebody magical on the team.
yeah, and I was gonna say, like, unfortunately, I think Dragonfly kind of gets dropped since we chose Ray, because it's sort of the same thing. I mean, even though
Yeah.
Ray did have, like, her Iron Man, or Iron Man had his War Machine, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I just see that being kind of the same thing,
No,
just
yeah.
different, you know?
And that's fine. Like I completely agree too. Like I don't
But yeah,
mind.
Alistair makes sense because, like you said, we don't have a mystic person if we don't choose Alistair, pretty much. I mean, you could argue the Vendred dude is, but he does not so much conjuration and summoning as he is, like, I happen to be kind of dead and I have some kind of dead homies who are down to funk, you know? Like,
Basically. It's like in a sense kind of like a Blade meets Spawn in some sort of way.
yeah.
For
And
Vendred.
originally, I think the artwork was supposed to match Spawn and Resident Evil, but it, like,
Yeah.
very subtly did both. Like there's a couple trap cards that's got a bunch of zombies, and that's the closest it gets to Resident Evil. Besides, the monsters for Vendred are supposed to be, like I said, a mix of like Resident Evil bosses and like Spawn characters at the same time.
Yeah.
Although where they were messing up in Vendred is Spawn also has like angel homies and stuff too, you know?
True,
Like,
yeah.
but Okay, so far we have Megalo, Ray, and Alistair. We have 2 slots left.
Ooh.
And I honestly think, like, all jokes aside, I think Shogun Saga kind of has to be on there. That's who you chose, right? Shogun
Yeah.
Saga?
Shiranui
Because we
Shogun
don't
Saga.
we don't have that physical dude who like is gonna be at his cabin and wants nothing to do with the fight from the other world at first, but then realizes like, I need to do something, like, or my way of life is threatened. Like we don't really have that kind of
Yeah,
person on the team. Like
I could see that.
Ray,
Very stoic person.
Ray and Megalo would definitely not back out of a fight. Alistair, being a spellcaster, would just know what was going on. Like he'd be like, "No one believes me, Mechaba," and Mecha would be like, "I know," like some shit. I don't know. So I kind of think Shogun Saga kind of has to go on there too. Also, because being an older person and like having hella lore to him, he could be one of the first ones who like dies off and it fires everybody up.
Yeah.
And then you could justify him coming back from his dabbling in the spirit realm or lead into his granddaughter and stuff. Like he hella has more freedom to expand as a character. Like you could even give him a prequel, like where you see him as a young samurai, like first with that smith guy that they got, like first smithing their cursed blades and stuff, and like
Yeah, and
his
like that, and that's the thing too. Like supposedly the spirit of the sword that possesses a spectral sword is supposed to be the founder of the Shiranui style, which takes his form in Sun Saga, the level 10 synchro. So yeah,
okay.
so it could definitely have ties into that. So yeah, awesome.
Okay, so what are the 4 left?
No, okay, so after the ones we've picked, um, we have Vendred dude, Dragonfly, but we kind of like already said Dragonfly's kind of been beat out, and then we have Ducks and Jerry Beansman.
Ooh,
So it's kind of between Vendred and Dragunities. I think I would only say the Dragoonity guy just because we need some aerial support and like some kind of like, I guess, even though we don't really have like I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure Dragoonity doesn't have any kind of like martial arts to it, but I kind of think of it like Shang-Chi, where it's like, you know, in the movie they like go into this other world where there are these
oh,
dragons
like
and
mystic
these like,
creatures.
yes, exactly, and then they bring that from the other world to come help and fight on Earth, kind of thing.
So
You know
like
what I'm saying?
in some sort of sense, we need like a sort of animal collar or a Pied Piper type,
Mhm.
character, I
Yeah, and
guess.
when I
Exactly.
think about it more, the Vendred dude, he's just a cooler looking Shogun Saga. Like they both have undead homies that they tap into.
Yeah.
So I guess probably Ducks would make more sense just because, he's um like Abe said, just another type of niche category we're missing.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Trez?
I'm down.
Hell yeah.
All right, cool.
And then I think just normally, when editor puts up the cropped photo Jose works on of all these characters together, Jerry Beansman is definitely there at least as like the Coulson of the group.
Yeah,
We
it's like
have to
Avengers.
fit
He
in
died.
Jerry
Ins
Beansman.
Die.
insert Jerry Beansman here. If it wasn't Jerry Beansman, I was gonna pick Little D.
Oh my god.
Oh God.
Shit. But
But that's a pretty cool Avengers, honestly. I mean, we covered like honestly some of the other cards I was thinking of. I was gonna say Stardust because he's more of like a cognitive thinking dragon, and thick
mhm.
thighs save lives.
That's true,
But
yeah.
yeah, this seems pretty sick. I mean, you'd be pretty fucked if these 5 people came at you because there's not really anywhere you could hide. I mean, we got the mystical, the undead, the ocean, the tech, dragons, the mystical creatures. We literally have like the 5 main things covered. Like you said, the
Basically.
only thing we're missing is somebody who's all physical. We don't really have like a battling boxer on the team or
Yeah.
anything.
But
As
damn.
we battling boxing Yoki, he's just like
Lead yoke, exactly, yeah.
detach. He gets stronger. Bah, 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 bah.
I personally think
He
like
takes off a glove and gets stronger.
the battling
It's like
boxers
an
or the
air fist.
Gokis. Like I personally kind of think of them as like comical, like because they just all like to focus on fighting.
Well, if we were doing, and maybe this could be the topic for next discussion. If we did a Mortal Kombat team instead, a
Oh.
Goki character could be like the Johnny Cage because they're like a wrestler and he
Yeah.
was a stunt guy but then got pulled into some real shit. Like so Gokis would fit more under like a Johnny Cage type person or like
Oh
you
yeah.
know
So like definitely up for discussion, like a fighting game roster made of Yu-Gi-Oh monsters.
yeah.
Oh
What I
man.
want to ask the
Like
audience
a
though
Marvel vs.
after
Capcom.
I wanted to see if we could think of one, but for the sake of time and I think it'd be funner to get the audience's opinion. Based off of our Avengers we've listed below, let us know in the comment section below what would be this Avengers that we created Thanos out of all the Yu-Gi-Oh monsters. And with the Thanos, give us at least like 3 of his like lackeys or generals, like what monster. And they don't have to necessarily fit together. Like they don't have to all be one archetype and actually have worked together, kind of like how we did. So like who would be our Avengers Thanos? And like his couple generals that would give our Avengers a hard time and potentially make Rey have to snap herself away, you know?
Damn, you just made
I
like
don't
a
feel so
whole
good, Megalo.
you
He's just
just
like, "Argh."
you just made like a whole cinematic universe based on like our Avengers that we just built in one night. Damn.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna
Well,
start
like,
writing. I'll write the script tonight.
well, kind of like what we always talk about, behind cameras. Like instead of having an anime, going back to the anime discussion, instead of having the anime on the card game, it'd be cool if they made an anime about the Yu-Gi-Oh monsters.
Yeah, like all
kind
the
of,
various
kind of like the
lures.
World Chalice and the Orcust and the
Yeah, where there's no
well,
like person, like no real time people, no card game at all. Like actually make it a world where those factions are real and fighting
yeah,
and doing whatever. Like I always thought
Fleet
the Allied
Force.
Justice and the Elswarm stuff and everything would be hella sick too. You
Oh,
know?
like the dual
Yeah,
terminal
exactly.
stories.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
exactly.
all in the lore and Master Duel, like Gem Knights, they get bothered by the E Swarm monsters, I think, or whatever it is, and they have to fight the evil Swarm, Steel Swarm, whatever they're called, or all those different ones. So yeah, like I said, it'd be cool. It'd be cool if we had an anime like that, but they obviously don't make that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
And fuck, that would definitely be an awesome discussion topic for another day cuz like there's so much that we can expand on with like, dual terminal and like just as you said, an anime based off of like the different lores, different archetypes. But of course, with that being said, we're kind of winding down. Oops, sorry. We're kind of winding down to the last minutes of like our podcast. So we just wanted to acknowledge all sorts of thanks. Of course, thanks to our audience that participate in watching our stuff. You guys definitely help out the channel any sort of way. Any notch on our subscription, any notch on our viewership, anything helps. For that matter, we like to thank our community in particular. We like to thank one of our awesome friends, Trez, for of course joining us on our podcast tonight. Trez has his social medias, of course, the Ducked Off Podcast to look forward to. Trez, any news on when we can expect some Ducked Off Podcast stuff? I definitely want to hop onto that.
Yes, I'm thinking mid-March. As you guys may or may not know, the audience, I'm planning on having a baby around mid-April. So hopefully get some stuff done before then, and then hopefully I can pump out a little content while me and the wife are on maternity leave. So
For sure,
stuff coming
yeah.
really soon, though, guys.
Yeah. And real quick before we go too, I just want to throw some shout outs to the people who've always liked and retweeted and reposted our stuff. So on Twitter, shout out King Brock, shout out Slyly Ramondo, shout out to a lot of the littler people who are just like to see people grow and don't have an ounce of hater in their body. So we always love to see that. And yeah, make sure you stay tuned for more. Let us know what you want to see or hear from us.
So yeah, if there's not anything else, this has been the YugiBOOM Podcast, hosted by your favorite rogue players in the channel. I don't know what else to say, guys.
bye.
That's it.
This has been a podcast. We are out.